Hello, my name is Suzy McGarrity and I work for LawWorks Cymru, and I also run an immigration pro bono clinic with Cardiff University. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about how client appointments can affect you in the short term, medium term and long term. Clients very often present at free legal clinics in moments of acute crisis in their lives. This could be legal problems like family breakdown, the loss of a home, the loss of a job, or an issue with immigration status. Therefore, you're likely to hear quite upsetting stories and work with clients who are very distressed. This will be more common in certain areas of law, such as family or housing or immigration, and less common in others, such as enterprise and business clinics. You may find these stories distressing to hear. It can be tempting to distract yourself or shrug off these difficult conversations, but that's how that can lead to overwhelm and us getting stuck in our emotions, which leads to greater issues in the long run. It's therefore important to deal with those emotions as they come up. Some ways you can do this are by setting yourself up to succeed in the appointment. By being rested and on time to the appointment, you'll ensure that you're not rushed or panicking when you go into the appointment. Also prepare, if you can, for what the appointment is going to cover so that you have an idea of that and you can start to prepare yourself. Think about the kind of things that might upset you the most and how you're going to deal with those in the moment. During a meeting, if you do become too distressed, politely excuse yourself and take yourself to somewhere where you can feel safe. After the meeting, make sure you have some time and some strategies to process what you've heard. That could be anything you use to unwind, like going for a long walk, spending time with a pet, having a coffee, or journaling or some mindfulness. Make sure you keep good boundaries around your role. So that includes things like how you view the client, your understanding of your responsibilities in the role and not taking on extra responsibilities. Also things like understanding how many hours are expected of you in your role and not doing significantly more than that, because that can lead to burnout. If you'd like to learn more about boundaries, you can have a watch of our Communicating with Clients Throughout Casework training, which is available on our website for free. And there's also the Open University Fit for Law course, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. If you've experienced situations similar to those that your clients have, you may find it particularly distressing to engage with their stories. You may even find that this is bringing up triggers for you or even becoming re-traumatizing. If you have a history of trauma or mental illness, consider in advance what sort of things might trigger you and how you might manage those. If you're aware of what your triggers are, talk to your clinic supervisor or clinic coordinator and let them know that in advance and so they can plan. If you find that you're really struggling with the case emotionally, even if you didn't expect to, make sure you talk to your clinic coordinator or supervisor about this. They won't want you to suffer for the sake of the project. If you find that your mood or functioning have been severely impacted by what you've heard or by anything, make sure that you speak to your GP and seek further advice. Vicarious trauma can be a long-term effect of prolonged client work. It's defined as the cumulative emotional, mental and physical stress that comes from regularly witnessing others' difficult experiences. It can impact people emotionally, behaviourally, cognitively, physically and spiritually. The symptoms of vicarious trauma are much like trauma and burnout. They can include intrusive thoughts, panic attacks, sleep disturbance, memory loss, being unable to get engaged with client materials or the news, finding it hard to concentrate, changes in mood like being irritable for no reason, a shift in how you view the world, such as seeing it as a hopeless place, and burnout, so the inability to cope with your workload. This is something that's unlikely to occur just in the course of your university volunteering because you won't have a huge amount of exposure to clients. But it's something to be aware of when starting your career, and it's really good to start forming good habits now. So there are a few things that will have an impact on the likelihood of stress and vicarious trauma occurring. Those are things like the area of law you practice in, as we've said previously, areas where emotions are at the forefront of the issue, things like family, immigration, crime, you're more likely to hear distressing stories. Your employer's attitudes to workload and mental health are also really important. If your employer expects you to be working all the hours of the day and maybe isn't that supportive around supervision and mental health, that will have an impact on you. Your ability to maintain boundaries, we've talked about that a little bit already. It's really important to be building good habits around that as early as possible. And your work-life balance, again, not taking on more than you are paid to do, not regularly doing more hours than you should. Finally, having an awareness of mental health issues will help you understand your own moods better and to address anything that does arise. So how do you deal with it if you're feeling distress around a client case? The important thing is not to suffer in silence. Talk to your clinic staff or your fellow volunteers if you can. Do remember though that this is confidential, so don't discuss client details with friends outside of the project. If you prefer to speak to someone confidentially, you can contact LawCare, which is the charity for supporting lawyers, in the first instance. Deal with the problem as soon as it arises. Don't wait until you're feeling extremely distressed to address it. You can take a break from the project or ask to be moved to a different case. Your clinic coordinators won't want you to suffer, and they will understand what you're going through. As we've said, if you're concerned about your mood or your functioning on a long-term basis, it's really important to contact your GP. You might also, as we've said, wish to contact LawCare for support and advice, and you can find their details there on the slide. So what's next? It's a really, really good idea to have a look at the Fit for Law courses that have been produced by the Open University and LawCare. They're a great resource on skills around understanding your own emotions, maintaining boundaries, and communicating around difficult subjects. They're 100% free, they don't take a long time, and they're a great way to start forming really healthy habits around client interactions at the beginning of your career. Thank you very much for listening.